welcome to Young at Heart. I'm Tammy Murray, the Director of Elder Affairs for the Town of Kingston, and I am here today with Christine McLaurin from Old Colony Elder Services. Hi, Christine, how are you?
Hi, Tammy, I'm good.
I'm so glad you could make it today.
Well, thanks a lot for inviting me.
And as we were just saying, this is a momentous kind of occasion because you're my very first guest, so
I'm honored.
That's awesome. Before we jump into all of the information that we want to share today, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Actually, this is a second career for me. I worked for about 20 years in property casualty insurance, and then I decided I wanted to do something very different. So I started volunteering as a long-term care ombudsman, which is an advocate for residents in nursing homes, and I liked working with older people. So I got a master's certificate in gerontology from UMass, and then I started looking for a job. And about 5 years ago, I started working for Old Colony Elder Services in the Family Caregiver Support Program. And I moved into community programs about a year ago.
Oh, that's fantastic. And are you enjoying it?
Oh, I love it. I love it. My job is unbelievably varied and busy. Something new happens every day, and I manage 3 different programs, so I'm learning something new every day. It's wonderful. And Old Colony is a great place to work, too.
And Old Colony, they're so involved in all the different communities, and that's why I really looked forward to having you as the first guest on the show, because I think the people who use Old Colony Elder Services know a lot about it, but the people who could be using it and don't know so much about it, I think this would be a great opportunity to get that information out to them. So could you tell us a little bit about Old Colony itself?
Sure, and that's one of the reasons why I'm so happy to be here, is because we do want to get the word out about Old Colony. We're what's called an aging services access point. We're a private, nonprofit agency, and we provide services primarily to older adults, 60 and over, and individuals with disabilities. And our goal is to help people to live independently in the community successfully for as long as possible. So some examples of services that we provide are personal care, homemaking, grocery shopping, laundry, money management, family caregiver support, and we also offer healthy living classes. And this is just a sample of what we do. We really try to give people what they need to live successfully. And we do serve 23 communities, most of Plymouth County, and then Easton, Stoughton, and Avon. And about 18,000 people in these communities use Old Colony. So, and we're very happy to add to that number as well.
Yeah, it's amazing how much there is to talk about, actually.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things I think that they're known for is the nutrition program and the Meals on Wheels.
Yes.
So I guess we could start with
sure,
that.
That's fine. That's
there.
actually one of my programs. I started as the nutrition program manager about a year ago. And we serve meals to about 34,000 people in our area. And about 7,000 of these are congregate meals. 27,000 are home-delivered meals, which is Meals on Wheels. Mm-hmm. For home-delivered meals, people have to be homebound, which is kind of a broad, we define it fairly broadly. People have to be unable to cook a nutritious meal. So that could mean they can't drive, or maybe they can't navigate through a grocery store, or possibly they can't stand up long enough to cook a meal. So then they're eligible to have a meal brought to their home 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. And actually, if somebody is really in need for nutrition, they can have more than one meal a day. People who get home-delivered meals have to be pre-screened by Old Colony Elder Services so that we can make sure they really are homebound. Mm-hmm. But it's a great program, and it is very much dependent on the volunteers who help. We have 23 meal sites. Most of them are in councils on aging. Some are in public housing facilities. And it really depends on having volunteers to help pack the meals for the volunteers to go out and deliver, and then to actually go out and deliver. There's plenty of opportunities. So anybody out there who would like to volunteer, just contact your local council on aging and they'll find a spot for you. Now the congregate meals, these are meals that are served in a communal setting, mm-hmm. council on aging, or public housing facility. So people can come down to a common dining area, and there's a meal site manager who gets the food from our caterer, heats it up, and then plates it and serves it. And again, there's plenty of volunteer opportunities for the congregate meals too. It's a very important part of the program, the volunteers. Now, congregate meals don't require any pre-screening. Anybody 60 and over, or anybody who's a caregiver of somebody 60 and over, can go to a congregate meal at the Council on Aging. So we do like people to call in advance so that we can make sure we have enough food. But hey, if somebody wakes up one morning and doesn't have anything to do and wants to go to the COA, I'm sure any Council on Aging would accommodate them.
It's true. And actually, I was saying it's a great opportunity for people who might be afraid to try the Meals on Wheels to come and have some before signing up.
Absolutely. And also, the more people can go to the Council on Aging, the better, because you folks provide so much information for them and all kinds of activities. You know, it's a wonderful community service. And people who sign up for Meals on Wheels or congregate, they don't have to do it for the rest of their lives. You can try it out. Just try it for a week and see how it goes. And you can then continue or you can stop. It's not a problem.
Yeah. And how long is the process from the time somebody applies to get food delivered till they are actually starting to get food delivered?
Well, I would say a rule of thumb is about 2 weeks, because the care manager has to go out, meet with the person, do an evaluation. Sometimes we need a doctor's authorization. However, if there's an emergency and somebody has no food in the house, we'll take care of it. You know, we have emergency meals we can give people until they get started. So we'll do whatever we have to do to get food to people. And I should also say that for Meals on Wheels, we offer 7 different types of therapeutic meals. So if people need a special diet, such as cardiac, renal dialysis, chopped, ground, pureed, we can accommodate those needs. We have a great caterer in West Bridgewater who does all of our meals, and they're able to produce, you know, those different types of therapeutic meals.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. That's great. We love the program.
And I've tried the food, and it's good.
Yeah, there's one more thing. These meals, both home delivered and congregate, are free, but we do encourage people to give donations if they can, because the program is funded by federal and state funding, but it's tight. So if people are able to give donations, and it doesn't matter how much, you know, we very much appreciate it. And I should say Old Colony Elder Services has never had a waiting list for Meals on Wheels. We take everybody who needs it and who applies. So
that's great. Yeah. Jumping around a little bit, the next one that I was thinking about was the Protective Services Unit and what people can come to Old Colony
Okay,
for.
Sure. That's very important. Our Protective Services group investigates allegations of elder abuse. And elder abuse falls into really 3 broad categories. There's neglect, where maybe a caregiver just isn't doing the right job. And it could be that the caregiver just doesn't know how to do the job correctly, or there might be something else going on, but that's one kind. There's also self-neglect, where if an elder is living alone and not able to care for himself or herself. And the third is financial exploitation. If somebody's being financially exploited, Protective Services will investigate that. And now when we talk about elder protective services, it's people 60 and over. And anybody can make a report to Protective Services. It can be, well, an elder can self-report if they feel that they're being mistreated or if their finances are being mishandled. Family can report, friends. Certain people in professions, doctors, nurses, social workers, there's a slightly longer list, are mandated reporters. They have to report if they suspect. We encourage people to call if you're not sure. If you think something might be happening but you're not sure, we'd rather have you call us than just to let it go. And all you have to do is call our main number and ask for Protective Services. It's completely confidential. Nobody will ever know who the reporter was, so nobody has to worry about creating a problem or backlash or anything like that. But that's a wonderful service to help keep our older folks safe.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've actually had a couple different questions on that, such as one was actually, we got a telephone call from a bank that just noticed that one of the children were coming in and accessing their parents' account a little more than usual.
Yep.
and another was somebody who's at home and they're noticing strong odors in the home
Sure,
and stuff like that.
Those would definitely be things to report, absolutely. And then what would happen is the protective services worker would go out, visit with the elder, talk about what the report was, not who did it, but just investigate the situation. And we have other people that we can call on. We have lawyers if we need to have a lawyer get involved. And so, and again, we would rather have the reports come in and have protective services say, nope, glad to find out there's no problem.
Right.
But we'd rather have the opportunity to check things out.
Yeah. Okay. And then one other question, just from my perspective, is they have a right of refusal as well.
Oh yes,
so
yes.
It's not that Old Colony didn't follow through. It could be that you went out there and the people told you to leave.
That's a very good point, because if it's really elder driven, if they don't want to see us, we can't force our way in at all.
Right. Okay. Some other of the services that you offer that I just learned about, the money management service. So could we talk about that one as well?
That's actually staffed by volunteers, people who will go to an elder's home and help them with their finances, primarily paying bills and keeping their checkbook in order. And they'll go once a month, or more often if it's necessary, and just sit down and take all the bills, write the checks, get them mailed, and that is a free service. And so if people feel they need, or if maybe a son or daughter feels their mother or father needs help, can always refer for money management. And that's another volunteer opportunity too.
That's what I was just going to say. There's always a place to volunteer.
That's right.
And it's amazing what the volunteers actually do, even just from watching them from the Meals on Wheels to talking to some that I know that go and help with the money management piece. It's fabulous how much people care and want to give back to the community.
Well, what's really nice is that older folks appreciate it so much. And it's not just that you're helping them do a task, but it's a connection with the community, and it lets people know that people in the community care about them. Because many older folks, particularly those who are getting Meals on Wheels and are homebound, they're isolated. So having a contact with somebody means so much to them.
Right,
it
and
really
that
does.
Was something else that just jumped into my head was that when the people do go and deliver the meals, it is also an opportunity to check on the senior.
Yes, I thank you for mentioning that. That's a very important part of the program. It's a safety check. Because our folks who deliver Meals on Wheels can't just leave it outside the door. They must see the elder and verify that everything's fine. And if any of our volunteers try to deliver a meal, we expect there's somebody who's supposed to be there, and they're not, we follow up. We call the emergency contact, we just find out why and make sure everything's okay. Usually everything is okay. Something came up, a doctor's appointment, and the person forgot to call. Right. But it definitely is a good safety check.
Yeah. We haven't talked about housing yet. That was
housing
is near and dear to my heart.
Okay.
And it's something that I had noticed in our community that there seems to be a shortage of, and there's a shortage of what the senior can choose, or knowledge about what they can choose. So one of the things that Old Colony offers is congregate housing.
Yes, we manage 3 congregate housing sites, and these are large buildings, or in one case a very large home, where people who live there have their own bedroom and a private half bath, and then all the common areas are shared. The kitchen, the dining room, the living rooms are shared. So it's good for folks who want to be, who maybe are living alone, but they want to be able to interact with other people. And then Old Colony has people who manage the facility, so they can facilitate getting services in for people who need it, that personal care or that homemaking or laundry that I was talking about earlier. And we also offer congregate meals at the congregate housing sites. So the food comes from our caterer, and we have workers there who heat it up and serve it. And so that's a nice living option for people. Generally, and it's the housing is public housing, but it's managed, the program is managed by Old Colony, and usually the waiting lists are much shorter for congregate housing. And we have sites in Marshfield, Bridgewater, and Stoughton. And then there's also a site in Brockton that's managed by BAMSI.
Oh, okay.
So.
And then you just touched on, again, the homemakers and the personal care attendants that go out. How does someone apply for that, or what do they need? What's the situation need to be?
Okay, well, it's really very easy. What somebody would do is decide, I need help, or maybe a family member says, I think you need help. And all you have to do is call Old Colony Elder Services and request or make a referral for home care. One of our care managers would go out and evaluate the situation. Now, where we're private nonprofit, most of our programs have income and age guidelines, because primarily for the home care piece, we serve low to moderate income older adults and individuals with disabilities. However, the guidelines get very complicated. I always encourage people, call Old Colony first. Even if you think you're not eligible, just make sure, because the services that we provide are either free or subsidized. So it's much less expensive than private pay services. So my recommendation to everybody is call us first. Let us assess the situation. If you're not eligible, we'll give you the information on what you can do in the private sector. But as I said, the guidelines are complicated. Somebody might think there's no way I could possibly qualify, but there are ways and there are different types of programs. So that's the way to do it, is to call our main number and just request a referral for home care.
Right, and I did actually run into that with some people who didn't think they would qualify for the farmers market coupons that were delivered from the nutrition program. So it's worth a shot.
It's absolutely worth a shot. And there's no downside. You know, if one of our folks goes out and finds out that someone's not eligible, that's fine. That's our job, you know, to make sure that we can give people the services that they need in the most cost-effective way. So it's not a problem. And anybody can make a referral. You can make a referral for yourself. You can make a referral for a parent or a friend. Now, again, it's consumer driven. So if we have a referral for someone and we call up and say, hey, you know, I'm a care manager, want to come out and assess you for services, and they say no and hang up, well,
you tried.
Yeah, we tried.
Okay. One of the, I don't know if it's a change, but it seemed rather new to me, was the educational services that you're offering.
It's not really a change, but it's a program that's been building for the past several years. It's called Healthy Living. And we offer classes, workshops, presentations on a variety of topics, again, designed to help people be successful at living independently. Some examples are, there's a program called Chronic Disease Self-Management, which is a 6-week program. It gives people skills and tools to manage a chronic illness or ailment. And then there are programs that are more defined. We have chronic disease self-management for pain, self-management for diabetes, self-management for arthritis. And these are 6-week programs, although with arthritis we do have one that's an hour long. But so these programs are designed to help people learn how to manage whatever it is that's bothering them or that's difficult for them. We have a program for family caregivers, which helps caregivers learn tools to help them manage their role of self-care while they're caring for a loved one. And then we offer 1-hour seminars. We have one on sodium and blood pressure, calcium and osteoporosis, healthy eating. We have a 1-hour living with arthritis seminar. And these are coming to the Kingston COA very soon.
They are, actually. Yeah. We have one coming for arthritis is September 16th we're having, and then we're also having one in November, the 6-week program on chronic disease self-management. So I'm really excited and look forward to sharing that with everyone.
Yeah, great.
Because we do get a lot of questions on things like that. I want to jump back to something that you just mentioned with the caregivers and families.
Yes.
And what can you, or what does Old Colony offer them?
We have a wonderful program. It's called the Family Caregiver Support Program. And it has we have 2 objectives. One is to make sure family caregivers are aware of all the resources in the community that are available to help them. And also, we encourage family caregivers to make sure that they're taking care of themselves. You know, it's not selfish when you're caregiving to watch out for you, because if you're not healthy, you're not going to be as an effective caregiver. And we define family pretty broadly. You know, it could be a spouse caring for a spouse, adult children helping parents, a friend caring for a friend, grandparents raising grandchildren. And the caregiver and loved one don't have to live together. They can live independently. Mm-hmm. They can live in different towns. They can live in different states as long as one is Massachusetts. And what's great about this program is the focus on the caregiver. There's so much stuff focused on someone who needs care, mm-hmm. but really not much that focuses on a caregiver. This program does. And the eligibility is very broad. There are no income or age guidelines for the caregiver. I worked with a woman in her 20s who was taking care of her grandmother. I worked for a husband in his 90s taking care of his wife, and all kinds of ages in between. And absolutely no income guidelines. We don't even ask. The loved one being cared for has to be 60 or over, or younger and disabled, or a grandparent raising grandchildren. But the way it works is this is very individualized. We have caregiver advisors who meet one-on-one with the caregiver at a place that's convenient and a time that's convenient for the caregiver. So we'll go to the caregiver's home, we'll meet at a library, meet at a McDonald's, whatever works for the caregiver. And the meeting is maybe an hour to an hour and a half, and talk about that caregiver-specific situation, because they all are a little bit different. Mm-hmm. The caregiver advisor will give the caregiver all of the resources in the community, and I will tell you, we tell every caregiver about the councils on aging, but all the programs that are available. We talk about Old Colony, other things within the community, and then and we also we talk with the caregiver about how they're doing at managing their own self-care. And if it's not a priority for them, we talk about why it should be and some of the things that they can do, because just little things can make a big difference. And usually there's just one meeting, but then the caregiver advisor is always available by phone. I used to be a caregiver advisor, and I still get calls from people that I first worked with 2 and 3 years ago because the situation changed, mm-hmm. and they just want a little more help and they want to run something else by us. So that's a fabulous program, and it's free, it's no charge. Very quick turnaround. If a caregiver makes a referral, or if somebody makes a referral on behalf of a caregiver, we'll contact them within 24 to 48 hours and set up a meeting as soon as possible, generally as soon as possible for the caregiver. You know, we try to hit while the iron's hot, or whatever that's called. Strike true. While the iron's hot. That's because usually people call when they really need something, and we don't want to keep people waiting. So
and I do think that's one. You know, besides having people learn to take care of themselves, you know, that are the senior living alone, having that support for the family is so important, right. Because so many times the family doesn't want to ask for help or isn't sure how to ask for help.
Well, I actually took care of my parents. This is when I worked for the insurance company. I had no idea a lot of the things that were out there, and I really wish I had. I wish I'd known about the Family Caregiver Support Program, because it could have been a big help. You know, and we've been able to help a lot of people, so that's a great program.
That's amazing. Yeah. I'm trying to think of what else I wanted to ask about, or if there's something specific that you wanted to bring up.
I should say that the Healthy Living program that I mentioned, Powerful Tools for Caregivers, that's the 6-week program for caregivers to learn self-care and techniques for taking better care of themselves. We're offering a class in Brockton at Emmanuel House Assisted Living starting on September 16th. Mm-hmm. So it does require pre-registration, so if anybody's interested, they can just call and ask to speak to someone in Family Caregiver Support. So. Okay,
let's see. Yeah. What do you find the most rewarding in what you do with Old Colony?
It's really on 2 levels. I love working with people, and I love working with all different types of people, and I enjoy making a difference, a positive difference in people's lives, and I feel that very strongly from all of the programs that I manage, the Nutrition, Healthy Living, and Family Caregiver. The other thing I like about it is I really do like management, and the challenge of making all these things happen every day is fascinating to me. I thoroughly enjoy it. You know, I never know what's going to happen when I get to work because we have 1,000 moving parts every day, and I like that. And I like having it all work out at the end so that, you know, all of our consumers are happy.
That's fantastic. Well, I really want to thank you for coming today and being my first guest. I think
Okay.
this has been really fun.
I think it's been great, and thank you for inviting me.
Sure, and if something comes up or there's a change or something that you'd like to talk about, feel free to reach out. We're always
Okay.
here.
All right.
And I wanted to thank everyone for joining Young at Heart today, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.